Sometimes when you're young and you talk about your career, people think that you're describing a hypothetical. And you might be. And am I? Am I currently? I'm describing a way that young people can relate to careers and how that might be interpreted. The reason I'm describing this is as a tech leader, as a person who has a leadership role in a technical organization. In a technical organization. Sometimes when I describe what's possible, it sounds hypothetical instead of like the way the thing is currently functioning. I didn't make the connection until recently that it's possible to open source code and point to it. Like you can write the way that your business works and host that on GitHub and point to the way that organization functions. And it doesn't need to be public for everyone unless you want that for those particular dimensions. Like with the possibility to have public and private repos, you can have different paces of conversations with different intents. For example, is it worth contributing mostly to private repos if you want your work to be visible? On the other hand, how, well, yeah, when we publish work, it interacts with a world, and that can impact the way the work that we publish exists. The takeaway from this video is that if you are in a tech position, then practicing making videos and having them be relevant for an audience is a good idea. Also, when I describe that it's possible to tell stories with domains, I'm going to tell stories with domains. In interviews, it's possible to say, hypothetically, on your team, I would do X, Y, and Z. And it's also possible to just do it. So I have a team of about 30 on TikTok and a team of about, well, what does it mean to be a team? I have at least one team of 30 people. You mostly keep time. Now that AI exists, it's possible for all of us to do a lot more work, or it's possible for all of us to synchronize what we're developing anyway. It is possible to do both. And not all of us are interested in using AI. So conceptually, in a modern era of technology, when we do have the ability to come together and basically just keep time together, the old corporate structure doesn't make as much sense, partially because it costs a lot to have offices in many instances. And there could be hotspots of power struggles where very talented members bump into someone who just wants to prove they can control the space. On TikTok, it's possible to form groups and exist in multiple ways. Like, not everyone needs to be doing the same things on TikTok, and you can explore with different groups. It might take time to find a group that you can consistently vibe with. And ideally, there would be some grace extended for practice. Not every cluster of people is going to make it safe to practice. If you form a group and you set the tone, then you can make it a space where people can practice. And also, I hope that's something that I do. And also, I hope I make this more available. So the main project is lore.land. And with that, the 5 domains boon.land, bane.land, bone.land, bonk.land, and honk.land. Those 5 domains previously shared the same codebase with factshift.com. That might be a starting point, and I might explore a Chrome extension with lore.land to tie the narrative experience together. Ideally, this system would be generalizable, and others would be able to create similar ecosystems for publishing. And this does work. I have published on Patreon. I'm planning on posting some sort of gardened, how do I say this? The idea is that paying for experiences makes it likely for more experiences to be pro whatever, how do I say that? Like, there is value in paying for experiences because it makes the person who provides the experience exist more easily. And yeah, basically, some people aren't going to be interested in paying for experiences ever, and getting into conversations with someone who is always going to try to find the least expensive way to interact with you might not be the best use of your time. Though also, it is frustrating to need to pay for every experience, and after a while, it just feels like friction. So, having some sort of balance between where someone can contribute to a premium experience and where they can wonder about a space and feel comfortable just navigating their own time. That wonder is the design constraint. And the context is I'm going to send this video to my team and wander forward with them. And now it's possible to share chats with ChatGPT and Grok, and I'm not sure if Gemini has that feature. It's possible with ChatGPT to chat in real time, and it's possible to share echoes of chats with Grok. It's awkward it's awkward asking for investment because, like, what do you get? And for the most part, I've navigated that by just pouring myself into the work that I make available for free. I'm kind of like, if we want a different world, we should build a different world. And one of the ways that we can build a different world is by talking about the one that we exist in and how we structure the dreams that we willingly engage with. And also, how do we make those more shareable? Cheers. If you have a domain name, you can have a Blue Sky with that domain name as the handle. Your Blue Sky handle doesn't need to be connected to a domain. Well, it doesn't need to be connected to a domain that you own. By default, it will be, I think, username.bsky.social. I'm not sure who else has set up servers. The point of this video is that it's possible to have a domain name and consider how you would update a profile based on that domain name. And you don't need a website for that to be true. If people recognize your website and can navigate it, then you can communicate that way. But enough people are communicating with Blue Sky that you can communicate the way that other people are. Lore.land has a TikTok, and I haven't connected the Blue Sky yet. That I've intended for that to be a, how do I say this, branding moment? Because there are ways that we can describe relationship to media, and sure, I can just update the handle, but also, what does it feel like to have a handle shaped that way? And I mention this because I'd like authors to start considering how they might want to tell an interactive story with their characters. Also, the mindfulness, how do I say this? When we construct spaces where we can share time, I think that it's important to contextualize, well, media, mindful media, media literacy, media responsibility, etc. I think it makes sense to have primary social media profiles be for grounding and allow experienced members of your media ecosystem to navigate into more exploratory fiction. And part of this wonder is how useful should lore.land be as a metaphor? And what can I do to contextualize the interactive handles that are the most scalable, etc.? Cheers. I've been reflecting on where learning happens and how development can be described in a public frame, and also contexts of Would it be considered intimate development? In the course of language design, I have explored liminality as a construct, wondering about the different placements of consideration or attention or flow